This is TWiT.
A federal judge in Oregon says the state law that defines what an engineer is violates free speech.
Was this a software engineer issue?
No.
No.
It's an interesting story.
It's a really interesting story.
Yeah. A Beaverton guy, Mats Jarlstrom, didn't like how short the yellow lights were in his town. He said,
was it in Portland?
I think it was in Beaverton.
Beaverton. Okay.
He had got a ticket for running. Actually, his wife got a ticket for running a red light in 2013. So Jarlstrom, who is, by the way, has a bachelor's of science, a BS in engineering from Sweden, spent 3 years analyzing the method for calculating the duration of a yellow light and found the formula failed to account for drivers who have to slow down to make a legal right turn or left turn, a legal turn. They have to slow down to make a turn. Did not account for the fact that they are in the box during the yellow. It turns to red because they've slowed down to make a turn. He sent his traffic light calculations to the state board and identified himself as an engineer to not only local media, but 60 Minutes, who did a story on him. The state fined him $500 for violating a law that governs who can call themselves an engineer, finding that he wasn't registered in Oregon as a professional engineer. He's not an engineer. He doesn't have the hat or anything. But maybe the state should have thought a little bit. This is a guy who spent 3 years analyzing traffic light data to get his wife out of a ticket.
If there's no better definition of an engineer, I can't imagine it.
Well, or someone who is likely to challenge that $500 fine. He did. He went all the way up to a federal appeals court and won a 25-page written ruling saying Jarlstrom may study and communicate publicly or privately about his theories relating to traffic lights as long as his remarks occur outside the context of any employment or contractual relationship with a governmental or other group that regulates traffic light timing. He may, in fact, describe himself both publicly and privately as an engineer.
So there is I guess if you were not an engineer and you told the media that you were an engineer, is that fair? Like if I called myself a doctor, I'd be committing fraud, right? If I'm not actually a doctor.
He studied engineering.
He has
he
a
does
BS.
the acts of engineering. And
okay, yeah.
And yes, there is licensing for engineers to some extent, but not the way there is for a doctor.
And they did say you can't pose as an engineer. You can't come to the state and say, I'm going to design a bridge for you. But you could, if you wish, send traffic light calculations to the state board and talk to 60 Minutes and say, I'm an engineer.
And we had that for a while in Texas where you could not, anyone who did software, you could not call someone a software engineer because of licensing requirements.
Wow.
So that actually was a big deal here for a while.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
You definitely wouldn't want a programmer to design a bridge.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't want a mechanical engineer to design a bridge
either. Right. Or yeah, right. So yes.
But mechanical engineers were okay.
Bridge beta.
Right.
Bridge 2.0. Well, there is if your first one falls down.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's a victory for
free speech and engineers everywhere.
Engineers everywhere.
Are we doing a changelog?
I can now wear the hat.
Oh, Lord.